where do I really want this podcast to go? Who do I really want to listen to it? Who do I really want to impact with the show? And this is going to help you figure out, is the goals and the intentions really lining up? Okay. So reevaluate your goals and your audience for your business, for your podcast, for your show, for your movie, all that good stuff. Queen.
Number 3, create a new brand name and image. So now you've evaluated what you want to do, and with what you're currently doing, and kind of compared. And if it comes down to like those aren't matching up, then now you need a new brand, right? That does speak to the person that you want to speak to. It does convey the message that you want to convey.
All right, we're out. Like I just felt like you didn't know what to do, so you just started yelling and singing. Oh, you're right. What do I do? We're started. All right, let me sing. Oh man. All right, so hey, listen, authenticity, which is something that we talked about on the launching call, right? We talked about like
Yep.
how do you make sure you're bringing your authentic self to a show, to a podcast, to a webinar, and I think laughter is the way to do it. It is. But Queen, I want you to kick us off with starting about just the importance of assessment. How do you assess? How do you know if you're doing something right, something wrong? But yeah, kick us off, Queen.
Yeah, so I think for us, kind of what one of the things that triggered this rebrand in the first place was us looking at like, okay, we've been doing this for X amount of time. We're 100 episodes in. I feel like the milestone of hitting 100 episodes was definitely a natural point for us to kind of stop and look at how are we doing, and reevaluate. Like, okay, what is our goal for this podcast? Who is our audience for this podcast? Are we meeting their needs? And I think that kind of asking those questions kind of led us to the realization that we may not be meeting the needs of the audience, that we are trying to or not fully meeting the needs of the audience that we're trying to present to.
Right.
Um, so I think that we kind of took
Or
a
we're
look.
not even connecting with the
There you go.
audience.
Right, right. So I think looking at like the name True Health Forever, and does our content actually speak to that name? Someone who searches for that and finds this podcast, does they listen to an average episode of ours? Do we fulfill what they thought they would hear when they look at True Health Forever? And yeah, we were very honest with ourselves. Like, I don't know that they would be fully, fully satisfied with an episode of the True Health Forever podcast if if we've been if an average episode of ours is what they heard, which a lot of it is entrepreneurship because we are entrepreneurs and we are in this journey together, and that's a lot of what we talk about. Yes, I am super. We are both very into health. We are on this health journey, but that's not always what we end up talking about for a lot of our episodes. So I think that's why we really took a step back and like, okay, how can we, rather than change what we talk about, because this is our life. Like we talk about our life, we talk about things that we're going through, we talk about things that we want to learn about. We don't want to change the content really of the podcast. So how can we the next natural step is then how can we rebrand the podcast so that the content that we're talking about actually connects the audience that we're trying to connect. Um, yeah, that's kind of what the thought process that brought us to a rebrand.
And this kind of episode is doing two things. One, it's introducing you to our mindset and the potential new brand that we're going to kind of convert this current show into. But also, if you have your own business, you may want to listen with that, right? Like maybe you have a clothing company, you have a writing company, a health coaching company, a board game company, you have a company, you have a brand, and maybe you're not seeing the sales that you want. You can maybe think about, okay, is the brand really what the customers are expecting, right? And you can kind of go through the same mindset that we've gone through and apply it to your own business. Okay? Now, the queen did hit like 6 or 7 points that are
I'm
already on
sorry.
this outline. She was getting into it, but we're gonna go back to this thing right here, and we're gonna see what we can do. But one, why should you consider a rebrand? So I want to talk about a definition that I crafted for brand. Okay? The definition is the perceived personification or embodiment of your company's mission, vision, values, product, and service. Okay? The perceived
Yeah. Right.
personification, right? It's not the intended.
Right.
And I think that's where we got into trouble with True Health Forever on multiple accounts, which we'll talk about, right? But it's like we have this vision for this company where True Health Forever, we do social health, physical health, economic health, and spiritual health. We got the podcast, we got the board game, we got health coaching, like we got all this stuff. And in our mind and our vision, all of it makes sense.
Right.
All of it connects. But if you're just being introduced to Trail Forever for the first time, you've never listened to anything else, you haven't been on the website, you don't know Devon Sinclair, it can seem random,
Mhm.
right? So now it's up to us as we're building out these individual arms of what the vision is. Each individual arm needs to almost have its own identity and brand that makes sense to that arm,
Right.
to that muscle.
Right. I think, yeah. I guess I think to your point, like, if you think of, like, a tree, right, and all of the different kind of business ventures we have are different branches. Someone may be introduced to this branch over here, having no idea where the trunk is, or, what the trunk is really consisting of. They just know they found this branch and it needs to make sense. And so, yeah, to your point, it's about connecting. Um, it's about making sure that each different branch is a branch on its own, and it doesn't necessarily. Yes, they all connect to a trunk, but it shouldn't need to be connected to a trunk to make sense.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, that does make sense in the metaphor. I got you.
Okay, thanks.
So a prime example of how we've already made this mistake and like reflecting, we were like, oh, we've been through this. This is what we did, and we've seen a huge change. Is Play Black Wall Street, right? So True Health Forever was our first business that we started in 2016, right? It's still the core business. Eventually, it'll probably get turned into a corporation that houses all the other businesses. But right now, True Health Forever LLC, first business, right? The first product that we made was Black Wall Street, the board game. It was on the True Health Forever YouTube page. It was on the True Health Forever Instagram. It was sold on the True Health Forever website because
Mhm.
that was our brand. That was our company. But the perception from the audience was one, True Health Forever, is this a health company? Is this a supplement company?
Right.
Like, what is this company and why is it selling a board game? Disconnect. And then on the other side, people who purchased a board game but saw like True Health Forever on their credit statement, they're like, I didn't purchase anything from you. I bought a board game. I didn't buy health services. There was a disconnect on both sides. So we were like, okay, what can we do? So we created an entirely different brand that spoke directly to that product, directly to that customer segment called Play Black Wall Street. Since we've made that pivot, and really quickly, rewind. What stops people from making that rebrand, from making that change? What do you think?
I feel like you don't it's the mind it's the thought of, like, "I put in all this work, and I don't want it to go to waste," or, like, "You've come so far," right?
Yeah.
And it's the thought that it's gonna go to waste if you pivot or if you rebrand. I understand that mindset because
Completely,
we've been there, right?
completely.
But what you need to think about and weigh out is the regret that you might feel 5 years down the line, you still haven't reached where you wanted to reach, and you may be thinking, what if I had gone through with that rebrand? What if I had, made this its own business and it took off, right? And you will never know because you didn't actually go and do it. So for me personally, I'd rather live with the frustration of, "Ugh, we've done this work and now we have to start over, or now we have to pivot and putting in that extra work." I'd rather have to deal with that than to deal with the what if of what could have happened if you actually listened to yourself and took that extra step.
But great, great, great. Please, and don't just take our words and think, okay, I got to rebrand tomorrow. Like, do a little bit of research. We'll talk about the steps later. But If for some reason there is a disconnect between your brand and the product, or your brand and the service, or your brand and the audience, you may want to start from scratch or just rebrand your current stuff, right? You don't necessarily always have to start from scratch. But that's what we did, okay? We had the True Forever Instagram, which had YouTube stuff, was focused on health, focused on our lifestyles, focused on that type of stuff. Now we had this product that we wanted to sell through the brand, but it didn't make sense. So instead of rebranding Trail Forever, we created a completely new brand called Play Black Wall Street. Them or the law of extension when you read the book 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. But law of extension, we created an extended brand, and now this extended brand has double the amount of followers on Instagram as Trail Forever. It has more YouTube subscribers, more visits to the website, sales, all of that stuff because we pivoted, right? Because we made it its own brand. So I know you're hesitate. You have that hesitation, like, oh, I don't want to start over. I don't want to start from zero. I don't want to start from scratch. But from experience, if you're able to rebrand, if you're able to niche down and make it so the perceived personification of your company matches your desired personification of your company, you will get better results. Okay?
A really good other example that I learned, I'm pretty sure I learned from you. Did you know that Kaiser Permanente started out as a steel company, right?
Yeah.
Kaiser Steel. And then they were trying to figure out how they can keep their own employees, healthy and give them some type of insurance. So that's how the whole insurance game even came about. And now, obviously, Kaiser Permanente has nothing to do with steel. But could you imagine if it was still Kaiser Steel and they were still a steel company, but they were like, oh, also we sell health insurance. You want to buy health insurance from us? You're like, no, I want to go to I want to go to a health insurance company for that, right? So yeah, just imagine like where they that's probably the number one or one of the number one healthcare providers at this. And so I could just imagine like what it could have been, or the what ifs that they would have been stuck with if they hadn't taken that rebrand and
Right.
created something completely separate from their steel company. I have no idea if the steel company still exists, right? And that's the point. We don't know because it's completely separate now. So there's probably a lot of companies out there that have done some type of rebrand, and you only know the rebranded company. Now you have no idea where they started. That's the point, because they took that leap of faith. They said, "Okay, we're going to rebrand. We're going to do whatever," and it tends to work out if you do it the right way.
Yeah. Another really good tangible example is, would you drink lemon lime Coca-Cola? Why not? Like, if Coca-Cola, the brand,
Mhm.
like, we have lemon lime flavor. Buy it now. Would you buy it?
And I wouldn't buy it in general, but
Sure.
but if I drank soda like that, I still wouldn't because it's right.
Yeah. Which is interesting because Sprite is owned by Coca-Cola,
It is.
right? So it's like that's the law of extension. Instead of making something again with your current brand that's established, don't mess with the validity. Don't mess with the reputation
Mhm.
of your established brand. Instead, create a different brand that can have a stronger identity. So instead of making lemon lime Coca-Cola, which doesn't even sound good, right?
Mhm.
Because when you think of Coca-Cola, you think of Coke, you think it's dark, you think it's caffeine,
Mhm.
not lemon lime. So they have a complete other brand called Sprite, and both of them are very powerful brands. Oh my God.
Going off on another, this is not a tangent, but just bringing this back, 'cause I feel like this can apply to so many different things.
Yeah.
If you think about like, if you were getting your house renovated, you go to someone that's like, oh, I can renovate your house. I can do the plumbing. I can I can do the carpenting. I can do the floors. I do everything. Or would you want to go to someone who is the expert 5 stars at each of those things? I feel like typically we want to go to someone who we think of as the expert. And I feel like we don't always typically associate like a jack of all trades as being an expert, because you can know a lot of things, but I think when you think about you can do a lot of things, you don't always dive deep into becoming an expert at one thing. So yes, I think that's what we've learned the hard way, is rather than True Health Forever kind of being a jack of all trades type of thing where we cover everything that is health because I mean there's so many things that can go under that umbrella is like okay let's focus on different arms and kind of create their own entities their own businesses that can seem like the expert in that field even though they do yes all connect to health forever in some way but Playback Wall Street now seems like an expert or is an expert in like the financial literacy
Talk about it.
homeschool
Talk
education
about it.
world right
Talk about it.
whereas True Health Forever probably never could have gotten to that.
Now I'm not the on that example. I would probably go with the jack of all trades. I would go with that one person who I could pay 10 racks and they can do 5 different projects within a week. But once I get some more resources, then I would definitely tell my truth. I'd be authentic.
Mm,
But Queen, speaking of that, when you're looking at the future of this environment, right? This show, this podcast, what is it that you want this show to be an expert? What is that message? What is that topic? What is that solution that we want people to tap in every week, every month? We've got over 100 episodes. You can tap in every day for a year if you want
so
to, right? So, what would you want them to be downloading in that platform?
um different strategies, different ways for Black families to think that's what, and especially in our talks of the rebrand, I think that's really what we came down to is how can we, there are a lot of different ways to get there, to get to wealth, whatever that means for you. So I think having this be an educational resource for different ways for you to listen to find a way that resonates with you, right? Owning your own business, that's definitely something that we recommend, right?
Yeah,
Starting a family business, going real estate investing, yeah, I think that is kind of excuse me, that's kind of one of the main things I want to take away. I think another thing is like the dynamics of running a family business, because we do run a family business, and there's a lot of dynamics that go into working with a partner. Um, there are a lot of ins and outs, dynamics, things you gotta maneuver around that are very different than running a business by yourself or running it with someone, with a business partner that you're not close with or married to.
married to. Let's be real. That I'm like that's the difference,
That's the
right?
difference.
Yeah.
It's being married to your business partner. I think that does bring its own challenges.
Yeah.
So I think that to also be a resource for married couples who are out there trying to build wealth together, trying to create businesses together, that can be.
Yeah, I like those two. The only thing that I may sprinkle in there is habit,
Hmm.
right? So like as you're building out your business, as you're building wealth, what are those also wealthy habits really ingrained in the culture of your family? And that can be related to juicing, to
Hmm.
meditating, to traveling, to showing appreciation, to learning the love language of your partners to help you with the business and with your marriage. Um, but as you see, like if you're a supporter of the True Affair podcast, you've been rocking with us, you're like, no, don't change, don't rebrand. Like it's gonna be a lot of the same stuff, right? Be a lot of the same stuff, but we are being a little bit more intentional on the guests that we have on. We want to see how can we get some married guests on here to just show more of the behind the scenes dynamics of how married folks are building together.
Hmm.
How can we get more intentional professionals on here to teach you how to build wealth? Um, and yeah, another thing is, okay, you know what I'm gonna say it. You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying the title or what?
You can say the title. I was gonna say by the end of the next 100 episodes, I want to
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Go
manifest
ahead, go ahead.
manifest that.
Yeah,
Yeah. You can say the title. You said the title,
yeah.
but
Okay. You should build up. No, you gotta say the title at
no.
the end.
Okay, my
You
bad.
gotta tune in till the end. Stay till the end. We will reveal the new title of the podcast at the end of this episode. Thank you.
Showmanship. I respect it.
Thank
I
you.
respect it. But my manifestation there, like, my manifestation by the next end of the next 100 episodes, we will be millionaires.
Thank
That I'm manifesting that. We are putting that into the universe, into the record. Because I don't think there's any way we can go another 100 episodes with the same type of velocity that we've been having for the last 4 or 5,
Mhm.
with those type of guests, learning those type of things, building that type of network, and then just the team that we have around us. I don't see another 100 episodes going by. You know, um, for manifestation, y'all hearing it. It is the date is March 26th, 27th if you're watching live, 2022. Here we go to look back on March 26th, 2024. That's actually pretty awesome, guys. It's also like right there.
Right.
It's right there. We'll get an M. Manifest that. All right. So, Queen,
Mm,
Queen,
mm,
Queen.
mm.
We will do an episode where it's just that. It might be a bonus episode, just back and forth. And you can meditate to it. You can vibe to it. You can put it on and annoy your wife with it. But I want to go into the Ask the Claire thing. Okay? So I told you I was reading as usual, and a word is dynastic. And the word for you, in case you have a nasty mind like some people do, dynastic is relating to the word diamond. Right?
All her
Yeah, and she was like, what you trying to?" I was like, Claire, come down. Right? Oh, but it's relating to a succession of people from the same family who play a prominent role in business, politics, or another field. Okay, so when we're thinking about what legacy you want to leave, right? The objective that you should be using when you're trying to live your life is I'm trying to be dynastic. Right? I'm trying to leave a legacy. I'm trying to leave a succession of people that have an impact on a particular field or community. Okay. So my question for you, you got an update for me?
No, apparently we're having sound issues, but it seems like now it's better. So I'm
Okay.
gonna leave it on this. All I did was exit out of full screen. It seemed to be better. So Jair, keep us updated.
Thank you, Jair. Okay. So my question for you, Queen, is what will be thank you.
Mhm.
What will be the evidence of your dynasty?
Mine, ours.
It is our dynasty. But, just,
Um, I mean, some kids running around that are healthy,
mhm,
that are wealthy, that have a good head on their shoulders, that have their own businesses.
mhm.
My name is Sinclair, and I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner who has created a program that takes a deep dive into your hormone levels and your overall metabolic health to create a highly personalized weight loss protocol that will have you lose up to 30 pounds, gain energy, and have you feeling so good that you go into the back of the closet and pull out that freakum dress. We all have one. So if you are ready to invest in the last weight loss program you will ever need, go to queen2queencoaching.com and book a discovery call to figure out which queen to queen package is right for you. Talk to you soon. That's definitely one of the things I think if we think about like a legacy or a dynasty that's left behind, if we ingrain everything we know in the human form, that's basically
Mm.
what our children will be. Sound is good now. Cool. Um, I think, and then I mean, the point of us creating these businesses is the hope, at least, is that they live on past us.
Talk about it.
So I think, being able to look down from the heavens and see what Play Black Wall Street becomes, to see what, the M4 podcast, who's on the
Oh,
M4 podcast, and we get to,
sneak peek.
yeah, one of our kids on here with their spouse or
Mm,
whatever. What health coaching will do, and even within this lifetime, right? We have goals of where we are now and where we want to be. So, the goal is to create my own coaching certification program so we can create more Black health coaches out there, and to get the message out. So to see how many people we got out in the world that are that are saying, "I'm a Be Well coach," and
Mhm.
out there preaching the word of health and wellness to the community. Um, I see that all being a part of our dynasty or our legacy.
Yeah, love it. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
ooh,
yeah.
wow. So for you, really think about if you're listening, watching, what will be the evidence of your dynasty, right? Your legacy here, your efforts here. It can be your children. I love that example. It can be books you have written, businesses that you have created, and hopefully you've left some type of standard operating procedure or manual for your kids to be able to operate the business in your absence. For other dynasties, it's been the pyramids, right? It's been cities that have been created, libraries, universities. So these are like the evidence of people within history.
Mhm,
And if you're thinking of your family as royalty, like we always say, king, queen, that means that we're a dynasty
mhm.
and that we need to make sure that we're leaving some type of evidence of the declare dynasty on this earth. Right? Cool. Thanks for
Do you have
indulging
anything
me.
else that you would add?
Um, well, I'm riding the wave of Rose and Rodney, so
Mhm.
those cartoons, the movies, I think there'll be added evidence of our dynasty. Because yeah, we still watch movies that are 50 years old, 60 years old. So to think about 100 years from now, what people be watching would be absolutely dope if they're still watching some of the animated films or real films that we've made, or if they've done new versions of them, right? We're still making new versions of Fast and Furious, Avengers, Harry Potter. Like there's all these
Yeah.
spin-offs, but they're all coming still connected to that tree. Like you said at the
Mhm.
beginning, like there's still that tree. And yeah, it'd be cool to see the other branches that go off of our trees.
Yep.
Love it. Okay. Getting into the last part. I just kind of want to walk through the steps that we're specifically taking to rebrand the podcast. Y'all can take very similar steps if you're rebranding your podcast or if you're rebranding your business. The steps may look a little bit different, but we're gonna go through just our steps for people who have a business, but also just for our audience, so you can know what to expect. Because we don't want y'all to feel like left out of the situation. We didn't communicate with y'all like, oh, what's happening? What's this new M4 thing? What's that? Open book, open communication, so that y'all can be along for the ride and continue to give us feedback along the way. Cool.
Cool.
Queen.
King.
Step number one. What is it?
Step number one, assess your current desired perception versus the customer perception. And that is kind of what we talked about earlier is this is what we want to do, but does that match up with what the customer sees?
Mm, boom. Step number two is going to be reevaluate the brand goals and the audience. Right. So just take a step back and figure out, where do I really want this podcast to go? Who do I really want to listen to it? Who do I really want to impact with the show? And this is going to help you figure out, is the goals and the intentions really lining up?
Mhm.
Okay. So reevaluate your goals and your audience for your business, for your podcast, for your show, for your movie, all that good stuff. Queen.
Number three, create a new brand name and image. So now you've evaluated what you want to do, and with what you're currently doing and kind of compared. And if it comes down to like those aren't matching up, then now you need a new brand, right? That does speak to the person that you want to speak to. It does um, convey the message that you want to convey. So our new brand is coming up soon. But it should be one that matches again with what you are trying with the message and the audience that you actually are wanting to connect with.
Mhm, mhm. Number, I don't know number what, four?
Four.
Number four.
You see, you put numbers and then letters. Number D.
Number D. D for Devon. Number four is secure your new social media handles or convert your social media handles. Right. So again, just like we did with Truvel Forever, we're like, this is not quite working. The perception isn't connecting. We came up with a new brand name, Play Black Wall Street. Cool. That's what we want. Now we need to create the at Play Black Wall Street on Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTube. Get all of your social media channels secure with your new brand name. For our show, there's going to be some stuff that we convert and there's gonna be some stuff that we start completely new, right? So because the True Forever Instagram is the main place where we put the podcast materials, we're just going to convert that entire Instagram page to this new brand name, which Sinclair will tell you very soon, right? We're just going to convert that instead of starting a new thing because, yeah, at that point, there's nothing much that True Health Forever itself as an entity is creating with the brand name True Health Forever,
Right.
right? It's just a shell company or a holding company at this point. Just like Google, what's the company that owns Google?
Alphabet?
Alphabet. Have you ever been to alphabet.com?
Never.
Does
Never in my life.
alphabet.com have an Instagram account?
Couldn't tell you.
All right, nobody knows. No one follows the Alphabet company, right? But we follow Google. We follow YouTube. We follow Slack. We follow what else do they own?
The
Right?
world.
They own a whole bunch of stuff, right? But these are all brands. Like Google is a brand. Google's not a company. Like,
Right.
it's a company too, but Google is mostly a brand. YouTube is a brand that is owned by the Alphabet company. So that's kind of what we're building out at this point, right? TH4, True Forever, is essentially going to be that Alphabet company, that brand or that company that owns these different branches of the brand. And if you want to be a visionary too, you can kind of have the same setup.
And I think just one small thing on the social media aspect, I mean, it does need to be its own step at this point, right? Because it is so ingrained into business culture that you need a social media presence. I definitely would recommend looking into like obviously making sure that no one else in your space has the new name that you want to do. You want to be unique and you don't want to steal someone else's brand. Don't want to get yourself in any trouble. But also on social media, sometimes people may have a social media page. It may not be a legit business or anything like that, but don't go look. But even if the exact one you want is taken, you can still get creative with like underscores or putting the or whatever at it. So don't be discouraged if just a social media handle is taken. I think if it's not a business name, you can still get creative.
Yes, and you did a very good point. Go to the your state secretary of state and look up the new brand name
Yeah.
and make sure it's not there.
Yep.
And then go ahead and claim that name.
Yes. That will avoid legal trouble. You don't want anybody coming after you. Where are we?
5.
Secure E. We're on E. Secure a new domain. So, right, social media, you also need a website. And so securing a new domain where people are actually going to go to find you should also match up in some way, shape, or form with your new brand name. If it's not the full company, ours is a little long. So we may shorten it, but it should still have something to do with your new name. So what's a good tool that people can use to go find?
Yeah, you can use a few. We use usually either GoDaddy or Google Domains. Listen, y'all, I have a whole bunch of domains that I
He
own.
collects another hobby of his is collecting domains.
My thing is like, if I have a good idea and the domain isn't taken, I want to just boom, let me own this domain. That way, eventually, when I have the idea, I already have the perfect domain for it. So I have like movie ideas where it's like Rose and Rodney. I got that domain way
Years
before,
ago.
yeah, way before it even like the movie came out. I got a few other cool ones too. Long story short, buy yourself a domain. It's like $12. Sometimes it can be $50 per year to get it. You do have to pay every single year. But yeah, make sure the domain is there. And what I like to do is probably get a few different versions of the domain as well. So get like the abbreviated short version that's easier to say to people, but then maybe get the full brand name as well. Because if your brand does take off, you don't want someone else to then go buy the domain and then people Google your full brand and then that other person's domain comes up because they own it. So you may want to secure that one as well just for extra protection.
Good point.
Oh, it's on me.
You're up.
Number 6 is you want to, like we're doing right now, communicate the new brand to the team, to your team, and to your audience. Right. So don't just pop up. Don't do a Beyonce album drop. Right. Because you're not Beyonce.
Not
Right? It's
Beyonce.
okay. We've learned that lesson. I'm not Dame Dash. Right. I can't just drop something without marketing because I don't have that backing. So now we know we need to communicate actively with our audience to make sure that they're along for the ride and that they know what's happening, so that when they see the first post, when they see the new Instagram account, when they see the new YouTube, the new logo, all that stuff, it's not a surprise. It's like, oh, okay, they've been talking about that for a few weeks now.
Right.
Boom, it's finally here. It also kind of helps build the anticipation up, I
Mhm.
think, a little bit like, ooh,
Mhm.
what's the name of the podcast? When's the rebrand coming? What's going to change? So you want them to be along with the ride, or we want you to be along with the ride with us.
Yep.
Appreciate you. All right. And then last but not least, queen number G.
Number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever. Number G. Stay in your new identity and your niche.
Yeah.
So, right, you've done your rebrand, you've done all of this work to switch brands and identities. You have to be careful not to backslide
Facts.
into what's comfortable. And go back to the old ways is make sure that you have your steps outlined, right? Who are the guests that you get on your podcast? Who are your customers? How are you outreaching to them? Have all of that outlined, so that you make it hard for you to backslide into your old ways. I feel like for us, it's going to be like the being careful not to say True Health Forever and
Yeah.
things like that. Like it's going to take some time, but I think we've done a pretty good job of also getting our new name into our vocabulary so
Mhm.
that that doesn't happen. But yeah, just make sure that you've got all of your steps outlined after the rebrand, and you're consistent, kind of like your system of how you market, how you reach out to, depending on what type of business you have, how you reach out to your guests, how you reach out to your audience, your customers, your new segment of customers. It may require a new marketing strategy. So how are you going to do that? Lay out that strategy so that you don't have to fumble and figure it out afterwards. And you don't want to have any slip ups and have people confused on, like, okay, so what is your business?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an important one.
Oh yeah. The only thing I'll add to that is it's gonna feel uncomfortable at first,
Yeah.
right? Especially whether you start a new stuff from zero or you convert things, and maybe you don't get the reaction that you thought you would get, or you don't get the reaction or the likes that you were getting before, or whatever it may be. You may be like, okay, well, let me just switch back. Right?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's been 2 weeks. We started this new Play Black Wall Street Instagram. We only got 10 followers. We're only getting 2 likes. Forget it. Let's stop posting there. Let's just keep posting on True Forever. We're getting 20 likes, right? But now we're getting hundreds of likes with Play Black Wall Street, right?
Hmm.
So take your time, stay true to it, and have some metrics, have some benchmarks that you can kind of keep yourself accountable for at least a quarter, 2 quarters, 3 months, 6 months. But yeah, like the Queen said, do not backslide into what was comfortable before,
Right.
right? Because the point of getting uncomfortable is to see that growth, to feel that growth. Okay, Queen, you good?
I'm good.
Cool. So hopefully you got some value. If you did get some value out of that, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you are listening on Apple Music, Spotify, podcast, make sure you subscribe to the show. We greatly appreciate you and get this message out to more amazing people. Queen, let's get into some updates.
Should I drop the name before or after the
Oh,
updates?
these people. Um, Go ahead. I think they deserve it.
Yeah, I think so.
I
Okay.
think they
All right.
deserve it.
All
Go
right.
ahead,
You
hit
stuck
them.
around till now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the new name of our podcast is, none of them are drum roll, unfortunately. There's an
Golly.
applause.
Where's the applause?
Yellow.
This?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The new name is M4, or the Melanated Married. The Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making. The reason why we're laughing is because we had a live brainstorming session. Jair was there, where we thought of this name and we instantly liked it, and I instantly struggled. I've only successfully said it maybe 5 times.
Mhm.
I've stumbled thousands. So I think it's going to be part of the new experience is going to see how many times I actually say it correctly.
Yeah.
But it is the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making. Woo!
There it is. There it is. Yes. So it is going to be I think I'm liking the M4 show,
Mm,
right? Instead of doing the podcast, and this is a branding tip or a visionary tip from Dame Dash when he was talking to EYL.
mm,
Great pivotal, I think, episode that they had because you can see their trajectory and even the way that they move shift after this episode. But he was like, "Why do you call it a podcast?
mm.
Like you're thinking too small. A podcast is only audio. A
You're right.
podcast is only in one stream. You have a show. You
Mm,
have a TV show where people are tuning in on TV, on YouTube, on HBO Max, on Amazon Prime. They can also listen to your show, but this is a show. This is an experience. So call yourself a show.
mm.
And after that, they're like, yeah, you're right. They shifted, and now, yeah, like you see the trajectory of EYL go up just from that shift in thought.
Right.
So the M4 show, and we have some dope concepts
Mhm.
that we want to do. So, ooh, y'all not ready.
Between Rose and Radney and this rebrand, you about to be just bouncing off the
Y'all are
walls
not
with
ready.
energy.
Cause so here's the thing. I wrote down. I don't know if I have it still. It's somewhere over there. I think we may have lost it when I moved though. But I
Mm,
wrote down like 5 goals that I had in life,
mm,
right? And I think you wrote down your goals as well. But
mhm.
one was to be a good, amazing husband.
Yes.
Wrote that down. It's a constant,
Good job.
constant goal, right? But another one was to create a positive. Are you winking at me? Or are you just
I had
blinking
something on.
asymmetrically? Oh man, I was just like, be a good husband. She was like, oh man, y'all gotta definitely watch this if you're listening. But be a good husband, but to build a positive media company
Mhm,
was
mhm.
another one of my goals. So to be able to see Rose and Rodney out there in real life doing his thing is beautiful for the kids. The M4 show I think is going to be beautiful for the parents and
Mhm.
for those married couples of those same kids. So it's like we're building that media tree trunk, but also this whole media company has its own
Right.
branches of people. So yeah, I'm freaking juiced. The M4 show, or the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. And after 100 episodes of the M4 show, these two people will be millionaires for show.
Gang
Let's
gang.
go. Okay. So that's that. Now, can we do updates?
Yes.
Cool. Update.
Update.
I was gonna tell people to like and subscribe again, but I already did that.
Yes, you
But
did.
if you forgot.
Do it. So updates, queen to queen. We still have a beta
Mhm.
weight loss program available. I'm still out there looking for a couple more queens out there that are trying to lose weight, gain energy, feel so good that they go back into the back of their closet.
Mhm.
That's moving the hangers, if you didn't
Ah,
know. Yeah. Back of the closet to that
mhm.
dress that you haven't worn in years, but that's your freaking dress. We all have one. You're gonna pull it. You're gonna be like, "Ooh, it's time to fwah, fwah, fwah," dust it off and put it on and wear that with confidence. That's how good you're gonna feel with the Queen to Queen 90-day weight loss formula. Okay, so thank you, Jair, for showing that on the screen. Got the website on there. The first step, if you're interested in this program, is to just book a call with me. Just come and chat. Come and chat, and we'll just talk about whether the to make sure that the program is right for you, you're right for the program. Want to make sure that I can meet your needs. I will be very honest with you if it's not right. I don't want to just take your money. I want to make sure that I can help you because at the end of the day, you're going to be a walking testimony for the program. So I want to make sure that I can help you meet your goals. So go to queen, the number two, queencoaching.com and yeah, book a discovery call with me and we'll talk about the next steps. But now is really the critical time to get in because, as I mentioned, this 90-day weight loss formula is being launched as a beta program right now, the same way Uber and Instacart and all these apps, they launch their app with a small group of people first. That's what I'm doing right now. So you want to get in on this exclusive group right here that I'm really testing this program with because you get 50% off of the price. Okay? It will never be as inexpensive as it is right now. So definitely go to queencoaching.com, book the discovery call. You got nothing to lose except 30 minutes to chat with the queen. And we'll make sure that we get you set up right.
And don't forget to put the www, please.
www.queen, the number two, queencoaching.com. I'll see you there.
There it is. And on this side, sorry, any other updates you have, Queen?
I do technically have another update. I don't have a way for you to get to it yet, but by the time you listen to this, I probably will. I'm also launching a free accountability call, a weight loss accountability call. So last week's, I think it was last week's, did you know, was that you are having an accountability group or accountability partner increases your likelihood by 95%. So to me, that was a really astounding number. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was higher than I thought it was going to be. And really from there, I was like, okay, I gotta get an accountability group together. Because I think even for myself, that's something that I look for is someone to hold me accountable and say, I got the king, but he's got a lot to do. So I want to make sure that I got another group of women that are also going to help me hold myself accountable. I'm gonna be in there too, dropping my weekly goals. So if you are interested in being a part of this free accountability group, go to my Instagram page. That is at the with three E's health nerd. That's my handle, and click on the link in my bio. Right now it's not updated, but by the time you listen to this, it will be. And you can sign up for the free accountability group.
There it is. Go do it. Go do it. Um, so for me, where to start? This has been a powerful, powerful week.
Yes.
I will say thank you, Queen. Appreciate it. So first off, Rose and Rodney, right? So everyone who tapped into the Rose and Rodney premiere, bottom of my heart, bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for coming, for joining, for supporting. That was our first animated film that we created. It's also the first project that we've ever sold tickets to,
Mm.
right? So we've had, film projects that we've done from like traveling. We put something on YouTube. We have a project that we may or may not charge for that's coming up later on. But this was like the first. The show is free for now, unless y'all want to, send some stuff. My Cash App, let me know.
Hmm.
But this was the first project where it's like we created this film, we put some money, some effort, some time, some blood, sweat, and tears into this film. We put it out there, and people bought tickets to it.
Yep.
So it was just an amazing, yeah, amazing experience. The Queen took some behind the scenes photos and videos. I was running back and forth. I
It
was
was cute.
jumping around like a child. It was really good stuff. So again, thank you for everyone who supported. If you didn't have a chance to watch and you want to watch, you can go to playblackwallstreet.com. Click the link to Rose and Rodney right there on the home screen, and you'll be able to purchase your tickets to the show. By now, it would have already gone live, but if you still want to support, you want to purchase your tickets and help us create additional films, help us create additional positive Black images for our young students and young scholars around the world through cartoons and just fun vibes, go ahead and go to playblackwallstreet.com and order your tickets. A lot of dope stuff coming for Rose and Rodney.
Oh yeah.
A lot of dope stuff coming. Second, what else happened? Now, I'm not gonna say the number, but we do have a partnership that is possibly sprouting, right? And when we plant seeds, that's us manifesting things. We shoot a lot of shots. We're big dreamers on here, and one of the things that we dreamt that we manifested was 2 to 3 educational partnerships
Mhm.
for Play Black Wall Street. How can we get the game, the curriculum, the books, the maybe film? How can we get this in front of more students in an academic setting instead of doing one-to-one business to customer sales all the time? So this year we already have one partnership solidified with Riverside. Shout out to y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're gonna be doing some dope summer programs with you. And then we have a almost solidified partnership
Almost.
with another really big school district that we're very much so looking forward to. So the power of manifestation is real. Believe in it.
Yep.
Follow it up with action.
Yes.
But we appreciate y'all for being on this journey. And yeah, woo, woo. So exciting stuff. Pop it off. 2022 has been a dope year. We're gonna keep it going. Okay. And then last but not least, of course, if you have your own business idea and you want to be a part of the 95% of people that actually accomplish
Mm.
their goals, we also have a entrepreneurship accountability call every single Friday at 7 a.m. If you want to tap into that, if you want to take your idea, you want to take your passion and start making profit out of it, head to www.launchitcommunity.com. We got the book in the background. at that. We got our own
Mhm.
books in our background now.
Yes, sir.
Listen. Go to launchitcommunity.com. Thank you, Jair. Get yourself the book. It's on Amazon. It's on our website. Get the book and start your business. 7 easy steps that 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds have been able to follow and actually create a business. So I know y'all can do it too. Okay. Get the book. Join the Launch Accountability calls on Fridays. And let's get you making some income. Okay. But I'm wrapping up now. Okay.
Okay.
I'm wrapping up. But the final thought is I love the journey,
Mhm.
right? And I think when we started this podcast, one of the dope things was being able to record our literal journey.
Mhm.
So literally, if you go from episode 1 and you listen to it, you watch it, and you see the things that we manifested, you see the things that we've talked about, it's just so dope seeing some of that stuff become real now.
Yes.
Right. And me outside looking in, it's like, geez, that's dope. Like y'all said you were gonna do that a year ago. And look, it's actually happening. Y'all said you're gonna do this a year ago, and it's actually happening. So I think for me being and for us being those visionaries,
Mhm.
there's so much other stuff that we talk about.
Mhm.
There's so many other things that we manifest. So I'm excited to continue to see things manifest because it's like, okay, if we said that and that happened, that means we also said this. So that means that this can happen,
Right.
right? So yeah, I'm just excited to be at that cusp, right? That
Yep.
inflection point within our life and within our graph.
Absolutely.
Whew, okay.
Only up from here.
Only up, continue it. Pouring blessings into you, your family, and your visions as well. We appreciate y'all for tuning in for another amazing, beautiful, impactful, visionary, and manifesting dynastic
Mm.
episode of the M4 show.
Hey, I was gonna see what you said.
Of the M4 show. We're gonna continue to do some rebranding, right? So you're not gonna see it yet, but we are gonna have an official launch. You'll see it, you'll experience it, and you may even be invited to it if you're out here in California. All right. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, and the director, producer, writer of Rose and Rodney. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Go ahead and hit on who
What's up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
Yeah.
Yes.
We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, we hope y'all stay true.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.